Step into the room, the lights turn low. Crypto and cocktails, let the evenings flow. No map, no rules, just tales to weave. The life we live, the dreams we believe. Why not us? Why not now? Raise a glass, take a bow. From coast to coast, round the world we toast. Here's to living, to what matters most. Of ether, stories swirl like spirits in a snifter. Friends we meet, both new and old. Every moment's worth more than gold. Why not us? Why not now? Raise a glass, take a bow. From coast to coast, round the world we toast. Here's to living, to what matters most. Jazz notes linger like smoke in the air. Bonds are
Oh boy. Hi, Jen.
Hi, how are you?
Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
I am struggling with not the greatest internet in the whole world. Yes, I can.
Okay. But we have you.
Do we have a bad connection?
I don't know. I can hear you fine.
Good. Awesome.
Do we have a delay?
So, I think we have a delay.
Oh, that's okay. It gives me extra time to think about my responses, and I could just blame it on the delay. So what's up? Are you still, what? I hear you.
Yeah, I'm in
moaning
Mexico.
over there.
I've only been here for like 48 hours so far. It's beautiful.
That's awesome. What part of Mexico are you in? Puerto Vallarta.
Sorry, can you say again?
Cabo.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. My sister used to live in Cabo. Oh, Puerto Vallarta. Nice. Oh, I got dogs. Can you hear them?
Dags.
Dogs.
They're not bugging me yet.
My
So what do
son
you want
will
to talk
handle them.
about?
I don't know. You know, it's kind of funny because last week I think we were talking about, a few different things, but I think a lot of people were talking about how that was it. The market's dead. There's not going to be a bull run. And now all of a sudden we're back at 94 and everybody's happy again. And my feed is all positive. And so, I mean, that's nice at least, but it's kind of fun when it's the downtime and everybody's panicked, you know? It kind of lets you filter out the noise a little bit, I think. So a little bit of noise in a different direction this week, it seems. Yeah,
for the past 5-6 years, as soon as I'm starting to feel like, oh, maybe it is.
Were you one of them?
And then boom, something happens. No, I wasn't. I wasn't, but I was starting to listen to things.
You were teetering a little bit. It was starting to influence you. That's when you just like don't go on your feed at all.
Yeah, I don't pay attention too much. I just if and when the 4-year cycle dies, it's gonna be a sad, sad day. I like predictability.
Do you?
Right.
You are in the wrong place for predictability. I mean, if once every 4 years is all you
uh,
ask, that's not a lot to ask for. But all of that in between
like
the 4 years, there's a lot that can happen, a lot that does happen. Wrong industry for predictability.
I like I like high time frame predictability.
Okay.
I'm gonna say if we're doing any screen shares today, it's on you because I'm not even gonna like try and do that from this machine with my connection. So I'll hope that it'll probably go better from yours. But in any
Okay. Well, if
case,
you want me to,
yeah,
if you
and
want
we're
me to
gonna
share
keep it.
anything, you just give me the cue.
Yeah, but I mean, totally up to you. Share whatever you want at this point. I didn't have anything planned, but we're gonna keep it to 1 hour today, right? Because we're good. We're gonna be good
We
people.
are.
Just keep it to
Who's
an hour.
Paul? We got a
But
lot from Paul Oracle.
oh, you got what?
We got messages here from Paul Oracle. He's commenting, and I said, "Who's Paul?" Oh, Paul, I'm sorry. You had to
Dude,
see that. We're live.
he
We just
is
did that.
he is our like you know how every story has to have a villain?
Yes.
He's our villain.
Paul, are you the villain?
But you know how in
But we got a hashtag stay
but you know
Cody.
how in some but you know how sometimes they try to like endear you to the villain, you know?
Yeah.
Like they try to make you like him. That's what he does. He'll like try to make you like him for a while, and then you go to some of his channels, and they're just the scariest places in the whole world. And then he plays the hashtag misunderstood poor me. Nah, man, I like you, Paul. I like you, Paul. But
Okay.
seriously, sometimes, man, yeah, that's Paul.
He's
I'm glad
misunderstood.
you're here, Paul. You know what? Yeah, why don't you come up and talk to us, Paul? I'm gonna DM Paul the link. He has actually came up on Crypto and Cocktails before, and
Let's talk to him.
he's very he's very he's something.
Love you too.
Let's see, did he?
He loves you too.
Uh, I, I'm not. I'm
You
not
know what, though? I
amplifying
will
anything,
say, okay,
Paul.
maybe not villain, right? I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I haven't met him. 315, he can't. But I think you see a lot of those that are really enthusiastic and really passionate about certain projects and things, but they may focus too much on the token, And so that will sometimes get to a lot of people because we have some, I mean, I don't talk about BNT, I don't talk about our token at all. But the minute that they start, I'm like, all right, that's my cue. I'm back to blog writing. I'm back to whatever it happens to be. Canuck, why aren't you here?
So, so Paul's thing too, like he has a channel that's pretty scary.
Okay.
There's a bunch of people in there that just spend their whole time fudding. It's just kind of a scary place. But Paul's big thing is that he has probably over the span of the last 3-4 years, probably spun up like 50 alt accounts because he gets banned from everything. So we like to make fun of Paul for that.
You know what, though? You got to give him some credit.
So I said,
I mean, he's devoted.
For what? Yeah, he's devoted.
I
All right,
mean-
he's devoted to FUD.
I mean,
I sent one of his
like scared,
alt
right?
accounts the link. Where do we send
Okay.
it? We sent it to Troy. Troy, okay? You go to the Troy
You
account.
can't
You got
dox
the
all
link.
of his accounts. Gosh, let's change
He-
the subject
no,
here. Now I feel bad.
No. See, here's the. No, he can't help himself. Okay, he'll spin up a new account, right? And we'll see it come on, and you can tell when it's him. And then he can't help himself. He has to send a DM to let you know it's him. And then it's like, you know that meme, Wolf of Wall Street, right? He's like with a beard, he's pointing at the TV. It's Paul every time.
All right,
There he is,
okay.
telling you.
So he seems like
How's my
there's
audio?
no
Is it really loud
boring times. I think you're fine. I hear a little music in the background. What do you got going on? You have a party waiting for you?
There is a Latin party downstairs.
Fun. So when I lived in Mexico,
Yeah, seems.
they had Zumba. I don't know if I told you this, but they had Zumba across the street, and I used to just stand out in my front yard and watch the ladies, and I would just do Zumba with them in my front yard. Because I had my son, he was just a baby, so I couldn't actually go. So I would just stand out in my front yard and Zumba.
That's
Yeah.
excellent.
It was good times.
That's excellent.
hmm Mexico was fun.
Well,
I enjoyed
well,
living
you
there.
should- I would love to live here. There's another place that we hung out that I would love to live for, a couple months a year too. I think that would be amazing.
I'm looking into
What a
it.
place.
Yeah,
You said that.
I'm not even. I'm not even shy about it. I got a whole list of places that I want to live. That is for sure one of them.
Yeah. So you have a teenager. So how do you feel about
He's
for
12.
me,
He's
it's always
almost
been
there.
like-
He's a tween.
So for me, it's like with the ages my kids are right now, it's like I feel like I gotta make the move now. Oh, Canuck. I gotta make the move now. And I'm gonna bring it up because it's not true. I feel like I gotta make the
don't
move
judge.
now. It's like, okay, here's the opportunity to no judgment. No judgment, Canuck.
No.
I don't judge you for holding snack and being a maximalist.
You know who
so.
might hold it against him though is Mark. So
The ladyboy thing or the snack thing?
let's not ruin his chances with Mark, okay? Okay, people are
My-
gonna get the wrong
oh,
idea.
my
We
chances.
know we're just kidding. Okay, go ahead. So you feel like you need to make the move now?
Who's kidding? Wait a minute. Who's kidding? I'm not kidding.
Mark's gonna hate me. Wait, go
For
back,
what?
rewind. You need to make
Stop
the
that.
change
Reverse
now.
that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not making any changes. I meant.
I
what
mean,
said.
moving.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, when
shouldn't
you
have
talk
brought him
about
up.
Mark, I get fixated.
I know.
But it's like, do you bring them before they turn 18 and go, look, here's your chance to live here, whatever. You can go wherever you want from this, But I don't know. I feel like it's going to be
My whole
hard
thing
to be a
is
homeowner in North America.
it's definitely going to be hard. Are you kidding me? It's already hard. If you don't own a home now already, I mean, depending on where you are, but I was so fortunate I bought my home when I did. And of course, we see every market, has its highs and its lows and everything, right? But I just don't see the prices here in Phoenix, at least in Arizona, going back to what they were 5 or 6 years ago. And if they do, that's fantastic. But, I'm pretty sure that realtors and investors are going to come in and swoop those. If you're not paying cash, you're probably not going to get one then either. So I think it's super difficult. It's more than that though too. I mean, I think it's also the cultural aspect of it. I don't know about where you are, but here in Arizona, it's like, yeah, we have a mix of everybody and, we're on the Mexico border and whatever else. But I grew up in New Jersey where we had so much culture, and then traveling, we got to experience that. And I'm part Asian. So we traveled to Japan and we got to experience that. And I know my family and everything there. I mean, that's a huge part. So I want my son to know that also. And I feel like if I don't take him to Thailand, if he doesn't love it, wherever we happen to move to, then that's okay. I'll take him there to visit first and let him see it and experience it before I actually make that decision, because it is more than just me that will have to live with that. But is he ever going to make that decision and try to move on his own? I don't know. Oh, this is Rick Barber. I love Rick. Can I just say that? I love Rick. Did we lose you, Tracer? Are you frozen? All right, I'll just keep talking to myself. Okay. Well, I can't bring up the comment, but Rick says, I bet we see reduced mortgage options by end of year with current administration, especially first-time home buyers. Home prices are another story depending on the area. Yeah, well, we're seeing a lot happening with first-time home buyers, I think in California, or they're doing some sort of a subsidy right now. I was just reading about. I don't know how far we've gotten into that yet. Rick, I wish I had a... Rick, do you want to join? Anybody want to join me? I don't even know how I'd go about bringing you up. We lost Tracer. I saw that he was frozen. And I was like, I'll talk to myself, but I mean, I'm just here by myself. I'm having crypto and cocktail by myself, you guys. Let's see. Rick, you want to join me? I'll send you an invite. I don't know if he's going to be able to. Canuck, you want to come up here? Oh, Rick is going to join me.
Really?
Dude.
Who's
Yeah.
Rick?
Rick is fantastic. Can I send him an invite? Can he join us?
Absolutely.
Okay. I love Rick. Let me send him an invite really fast.
I like him already.
He's so great. Okay, let me.
Sorry about that. I switched.
Oh, you're fine.
I switched routers, so maybe this is better. I actually picked my eSIM carefully so that I could have appropriate internet for this purpose, right? So I paid extra for the unlimited crazy bandwidth, and I'm not impressed.
I was hosting my calls from a cruise line, like literally on a cruise, a day at sea. Rick, I sent you the link to join us in a DM on Telegram. So if you're still up for it and you can join, the link is there. I hope.
Yeah, Canuck. So, I DM'd you on Telegram too, Canuck. Get on it.
So Rick was one of my colleagues at Bancor previously, and he was doing events and things. He's so fantastic. He started doing a few things on his own, but he's definitely one of my favorite people. And I used to host a call. It was like the coffee talks on Fridays, and he would always join. And I just love hearing his perspective on different things, you know, so I hope that he does join us. And he has like it's fun because you'll see him posting charts in his TA and things like that. But then you'll see him posting things about like he just was jumping in on the mortgages. So it's like he's got a little bit to add no matter what the actual conversation is. So I always enjoy speaking with him and hearing what he has to say, you know. Hopefully he will join us. So
there he is. Okay, Rick, I'm bringing you up, Rick.
Oh, yay.
Good evening.
Hi, Rick.
Hi, Rick.
How are y'all?
Well, thanks. How are you?
Great, man.
I'm good.
Okay,
Thanks
so
for
have you met you don't know Tracer yet, but Tracer is also one of my favorite people. He's a Cody ambassador. He hosts a call called Cody Confidential, and you know, Bancor just deployed Carbon DeFi in their Fastlane on Cody, and so we met in Thailand, in Bangkok, just recently for Southeast Asia Blockchain Week. And the actual event was canceled, like the conference was canceled because of the earthquake, but Cody still had their event. So Mark and I went out there and we met Tracer and a bunch of the contributors over at Cody, ambassadors and team members and things. And so here we are.
I'm trying to get my video thing to work here. Bear with me, guys.
You're fine. Hey, okay. So I was just thinking about earthquake in Thailand. You had like a tornado not long ago, I think, run through your area.
I did. It about took out my house.
That is wild. I heard you guys were just like outside taking pictures or something, not really actually realizing that there was a tornado about to take down your house.
Mark was actually here when that happened. It seems like every time he comes and visits, something catastrophic happens at my home. But yeah, it was quite interesting. But no damage to any people, and that's always what's most important. Is we all did good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's wild. I've never gone through anything like that. Tracer, do you get anything like that up where you are? You just muted. I think you were
not really. It's pretty chill. I should be off, right? You can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. There it is.
Yeah, no, we're kind of like right in the middle of the continent, so we don't see too much. Maybe a tornado once in a while, but nothing where I am.
That's nice.
And where are you at, Tracer?
I'm right in the middle of Canada and Manitoba.
So okay.
Right by the border, really close to the American border. Yeah, and I didn't catch. I don't know. Like I have a bad connection, so I didn't catch where you're from. Sorry.
I live just south of Dallas, in Texas.
Right on. Cool.
Yeah,
man.
I've got some family lives up in Canada, So one of those areas I've been look forward to traveling to at some point in time.
That'd be nice. I've never been.
Right on, man. Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rick, what have you been looking at lately? I was just talking about how my feed has gone from like super, super pessimistic in the last couple of weeks to all of a sudden the last few days optimistic all over again and happy. And, you know, I mean, it's rainbows and sunshine and, you know.
As is the crypto market, right? It's all doom and
Yeah.
gloom. It's feast or famine. There is no middle ground.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
I'm still in the camp that that until some of this stablecoin regulation comes out, it's going to be very choppy. I think that's going to be the first thing that'll catch a gear. So, you know, specifically things like Curve have my attention, being, you know, it's just one of the strongest, you know, stablecoin based exchanges there are. And I think DeFi is going to have a big day. I think those are the two that I think are going to get the most clarity regulation wise. And they'll be the outliers as I think Bitcoin continues to kind of, you know, chop, if you will, and ultimately I don't think it catches a gear till later in the year, but I think you're going to find some great outliers out there.
DeFi definitely needs to, it's not the fact that it needs to see its day. I think it's just more the fact that it has been so unknown, actually, like regulation wise, you know, it's like beyond muddy waters. You're not quite sure what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. And so in order to play it safe, you just don't do any of the above. It's one of those. If we can get a little bit of clarity on, you know, from the regulation, like regulatory clarity, I think that would be fantastic. Because I know marketing for DeFi, you're like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. That's not worth the risk, Jen. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think there's still a learning curve. I think there's so much in traditional finance that people are so stuck on knowledge-wise that they just don't see the opportunity from, not even from an investment standpoint, just from a beneficial of using it standpoint, right? The lending is so easy. If you're losing major platforms and not going with the newest, latest, and greatest out there that hasn't been proven, then I mean, the return on, you know, putting up collateral is crazy good. And then borrowing is just so easy compared to traditional finance of giving an application, getting demanded, don't know what you're doing with your money, worried about credit scores, and just all that mess that I think the world just doesn't understand yet how powerful of an option they have. Banks hate it. And I think that's why there's a lot more fear tactics out there. But for those of us that have been around, you know, for quite a while and been benefiting from it, it's hard to just get that across to people. Say there's a better way. It's a little bit different process, right? It's different than what they're used to, and so they're scared of it. And they hear about all the bad things that have happened through the evolution of this technology. But for me, once it clicks and people realize how much money they can make on the conservative, just, you know, put it somewhere and let it earn interest for them, and those that need access to easy capital, man, it's just it's gonna blow up, and it's gonna blow up fast when that trigger finally happens.
You know, okay, so question for you guys, since you said that, Rick, you know, how you could just park it somewhere and earn yield on it, right?
Yeah.
You were talking about using one product over the latest and greatest. So for new DeFi users, because I'm realizing that, you know, it was through our call, like the Carbon DeFi X Cody call recently, right? It was kind of like bringing it back to new DeFi users. And so for them, how do you find that balance between the latest and greatest and not becoming greedy and tempted by that sort of, I mean, we saw what happened with Terra Luna, right?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody was talking about it and everybody was saying that it was sustainable and this was fine. And anybody who was saying, hey, red flag, it was flooding the project. So for new DeFi users, let's take a minute and just, maybe they're watching. How do you make that balance, and what is a reasonable APY that you can expect in DeFi and feel comfortable? Like what are they rates at right now? I saw one today, it was like 20%. I shared the message with Tracer. It was like a DM that I got. Hey, we've got this new project and it's really low risk and it's this, and you could just park it and it's 20% and it's really easy to just do this. And it was like, I don't know how that compares to the rest of the market right now, but for any new DeFi user, they're going to be like, oh, this is DeFi. And yeah, that's what I should expect, 20%. And, this is normal. That's hard to make that distinction when you're a new user,
I think if you're a new user and you're not risk adverse, that sounds appealing. If you're a little more mature in money management, then you also understand that there is always risk. And so proper allocation of your assets to like less amount to higher risk and more amounts to lower risk, and maybe find a balance. That way, if you do run into a, high risk, just like investing in a new company, right? The success rate is much lower than that of a proven company, although the potential gains are a lot higher. And so for someone who's coming into the market, I would recommend, like when I try to talk to family about it, like, well, I've got $100,000 sitting in the bank and earning, 3.5%. I'm like, well, how about you put it in DeFi into a stable token and let someone lend it out for you at, 8 or 9%. And that may scale up or down if using something like AV or, using a CVX with Curve or something like that, where you're benefiting off of something that's actually producing fees and those kind of things. And there's different strategies that can get confusing. But for me, I try to teach more than anything is that this world in crypto is about gains, but it's also more than anything, especially right now, about preservation.
100%.
There's very safe
say that
places.
On the trading call all the time.
Yeah, you have very safe places you can put money and earn a very respectable double what the traditional market offers. And let's start there. If you're earning 2 times what you can get at your bank, you're a winner, right?
Yeah.
So do that with most of your money. And then take 5 or 10% and go play with these other ones that might give you bigger wins, but be responsible about it. That way you're not a cautionary tale, and you're someone who came in and said, look, I listened to other folks that have been here. Those of us that have been rugged on, those of us that have, been part of the grinding and the bleeding edge of this space, and take that wisdom.
Yeah. It's so hard though too. And Tracer, jump in here at any time, of course, It's so hard because you have all of these KOLs and everybody who's posting about these different projects, and we talk about this on one of my blockchain banters too, because they're getting paid to post these things. They're getting paid to push these projects, right? It's in their best interest to, hey, I'll tweet about you. I'll thread about you. I mean, this is all we get in the Carbon DeFi DMs, right? Like, hey, you wanted this and you wanted that, and it's only going to cost this much money, right? We see it all the time. So then it's also listening to those that have been here, who have lived through it, who are honest and really actually looking out for you too. And then those who have been here and who are kind of more on that sort of KOL, and nothing against KOLs and nothing against influencers, right? I mean, there are the certain ones that you might not necessarily want to take financial advice from, but there's making that distinction too.
They're just one set of information that's out there, and this comes down
to
that
also, information too.
Personal responsibility. This is where it kicks in, because it's one of the reasons that those of us that are purists love decentralization and love these markets, is because it's for the responsible that are willing to do their own research. And yes, it's high risk, but if you are smart and wise and you spend time learning about projects, learning about proper capital investment, then someone in their 20s can do really, really well. And, it's harder to get people my age, right? I just turned 50. I hate to give my age out there, but I'm one of the older guys that you don't find in this space near as much. They're trying to bridge the gap.
Rick.
Do what?
I said 50 is a sexy age.
Oh, I'm not saying it's old, but I'm saying, but if you look at traditionally where
throw it out there.
The middle of the market's at, this market's full of younger guys, younger folks, right? Your early 20s, and those guys that, one, they can take more risk because they don't have as much responsibility as family and stuff, but they're also the ones that are getting burned, or they're making these moon stories that then tempt everybody else to take higher risks. And it's not always good, right? At the end of the day, versus those that come in and they're wise and they say, you know what, I was educated enough to know that I need to do my own research and do my own diligence. Those cliches that we see all the time that are really good advice if someone's willing to do it.
DYOR.
Yeah, but instead I fear that most people are just looking to be a copy trader, or to just, go with the highest risk reward, that there is out there, thinking they're going to hit it big. It's like a lottery ticket. And that's just a very dangerous way to operate in this space. And you can be so much more successful if you just patient, understand that if you're 20 something years old And if you've even got $5,000, let's say, that you can start putting into this space, if it takes you 10 years to turn that into $5 million, you've done really well, right?
Really
I mean, even if you can turn it into $500,000, you've done really, really well. But people want to do that overnight, and then they risk it and they lose it. And then next thing you know, or if they do make a good call, right? Let's say they do make a good investment and they end up making a few $100,000, then they still roll that dice the same way with that amount of money as they did with the $5,000. Next thing you know, they catch the bad deal and they lose it all. And now it's poor, woe is me.
Do you remember hearing about the one guy who made all of that money on Solana with whatever meme tokens and stuff, and then all of a sudden he threw it all into Haktua?
Oh my gosh.
All of it. I mean, it was $5 or $6 million.
That's an
threw it all
earned
into
loss.
Haktua, and then nothing. You know, I mean,
that
they
gambler
thought that
mentality.
they were going to roll that. That's why when you said, the mature, you have to, for the mature DeFi user, and I'm like, it doesn't last. You come into this space mature, if you come into this space mature, you go through this brief moment of, it's hard to not get caught up in all of this, right? Especially if you listen to the noise.
Yeah.
Because you see all of everybody posting their wins and posting their this and posting their that. And you know what? At the end of the day, you're most likely their exit liquidity. That's really what that is. They've already made their gains. Now they're looking for somebody to dump on. So buy the token, whatever it happens to be, right? Or you don't come into this space mature at all. And after a little bit, you're like, okay, I need to wisen up here. And you find a certain level of maturity after being here. But you know what? Speaking of, I was speaking to someone the other day, and I realized, talking about new users and stuff, after being in this space for 5 years, like, I haven't actually spoken to someone like, what is blockchain? Guys, I fumbled my words so bad. It was like bringing it back to this like entry level sort of conversation. I haven't had it in so long, and it caught me so off guard that I was like, well, and every word I threw out, I was like, that's way too technical. And then I would backtrack, and then I would throw out another word. And I realized I need to remember how to talk to normies, for lack of a better
style.
word.
You got to do it kindergarten style, as I say.
And the really do.
The best financial framework I try to give people that ask, or that even if they don't ask, I try to give them so they'll listen, is that like life insurance? Why does a family buy term life insurance? It's to replace that income if producer is gone, right? If the producer of the household, the dad dies and he's got $500,000, if you look at traditionally in the stock market, if you put that in stocks, you can make 10% a year, which equates to $50,000 a year, which is enough to support that family while that guy's gone, if they leave that money in the market. If you do the same thing with crypto, and let's say you have a big win, if you go and take that money, stick it somewhere where it's making 8 to 10% easily, and then live off of that yield, and then play with a little bit of it like a budget, like you would anything else, then now you have a situation where you're reaping the benefits of the market. You're being patient. You're still taking risk, but you're not putting everything at risk, knowing that you've already got this nest egg sitting there that's producing for you, right? Which is what you want, money making money. And if you keep putting it all in play on something that's high risk, at some point, it's just gonna flow out from underneath you. And next thing you know, you're back at McDonald's again.
Wait, so is that how you explain it to normies, like to somebody who's never, like, who's just entering the space, who has never been in the space before? Because it's funny that you use that, because I was actually speaking to someone who sells term life insurance.
And
he was the one who asked.
It's the goal of establishing, what is your reason for being here? What are you trying to accomplish? And most people, if they really ask them what would be in a perfect world, is if, one, they didn't have to work a 9-to-5 job anymore, right? And they could just invest in playing with this new market, especially at the time we're at right now. And that's when you say, well, then let's make sure home's taken care of first. If you got some money, let's put it somewhere it's producing for you that might be able to pay bills and ensure you don't have to worry about getting a job. So you can focus on education. You can focus on testing out new strategies. You can focus on getting knee deep in this space, but don't go out and buy a Lambo. Don't go out and buy, all the things that people chase because they may have a good day. Is you keep building assets that produce for you, and you risk some of those assets on a small percentage basis to keep building the bigger asset. And so, but that's the educational knowledge we don't get in schools, right? You don't learn that in high school. You don't learn that in junior high. Hell, you
No,
don't
you
even learn it in
don't.
college unless you're an economy major.
Right.
And that's the other problem, is that this education has not been out there. So it's a big learning curve for people that have been used to going out and just spending whatever they make, living paycheck to paycheck. Or if they make it big, they think they can quit and go straight full-time into crypto. And that's about one of the most humbling experiences you can have, are these influencers and stuff that, when the market gets good, everybody's a genius, right?
Oh,
No matter where you throw
100%.
money, the tide's rising, everything goes up, and they think they're actually geniuses. And because they have a little bit of personality, they start to develop followers. And next thing you know, they go full time. And then what happens? The market humbles them. And then they've quit their job, especially if they had a good career job that now is no longer there because of the market tanks. It's usually because all the markets tank.
Easy. This is easy.
Yeah.
I could do this all day, every day. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we were all geniuses in 2020 and 2021.
If it's still super loud, then we'll just leave you muted. Sorry, Rick. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just
No.
don't
I'm good. I went for a walk. I'm on the 7th floor on the other side of the building now. I'm in a little like a club side. Perfect.
You got like this smoking halo above you. What is that from?
Is that a light?
It's they're fans. They're fans. The fans are sunk into the ceiling, and there's lights around. It's pretty funky. It's pretty funky.
It looks
cool. Little place here.
It looks almost like a star dome or something that's up there, and you can see out in the sky, and then just got some fog smoking around it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, they have on the 7th floor here, they have like a little a club section where you can come get it's like a little place where you can get food, little bar, little seating area, and the concierge is here, and it's perfect. Pretty cool little place.
Nice.
So
awesome.
I never have the club wristband, but we have it now. But my thing is, Rick, thing is I'm a round tripper for the most part. And I'm really good at taking it goes up, it goes down. I do 10%, 10%, 10% when I should be doing 50%, 50%, 50%. So still got to get better at that. But I tend to give back less than everybody else does.
Yeah. It's the key of just having a plan, sticking to it, right? Another cliche. I think we've all been there. I certainly still do it sometimes with specific projects, but for the most part, it's a discipline. Like everything else in life, working out or eating right, whatever the case may be, it's a discipline that we all got to do better at. But I think once you start seeing some wins and you force yourself to do it, then you see the fruit of that investment. I think
that's what it is. It's the unrealized gains versus the actual realized gains. You see the wins on paper, and you're thinking, "Oh, see you later." That track channel.
Yeah, and the higher time frames, right? I mean, if you're trying to do TA, the big thing I've learned over the last several years of trying to just get as much TA knowledge as I could, because I was always a fundamentals guy, and because my history is business as far as my background goes. So for me, I was able to identify great projects that had good fundamentals. They were going to be revenue generation. They really were not going to be fly-by-night type of things. But the problem is I didn't respect that even though how great a project might be, there's going to be cycles in the market it's going to go through regardless of how great the technology is. And so moving to higher time frames, versus the 1 minute chart, right, that a lot of people like to live on, especially when the financial data comes out, is looking at your weeklies and things like that, and then saying, hey, when it hits this level, then I know that it's probably going to go back up to this level, but that level may take a week and a half to play out, and you got to take your position and then walk away and let it do what it's going to do. Because if you take a position, then you see it drop 3% and you freak out and you sell, well, that was just them cleaning you out. And the next thing you know, it jumps up 10%. And you're like, I should have stuck with my plan, because I stuck with my plan, which you researched and spent time on and made all that investment of effort to learn. Then you ruin yourself, and that's what the big boys are doing, right? They're playing higher time frames. They're not playing hourly charts like you see with a new launch or a meme token. They're really playing the bigger higher time frames.
It's so true. Who was it?
We've had we've had some time to hang out with Jen for a couple streams, talking about some of their tools, and wow. Some of those are great ways to force yourself to your strategy. And just like I was saying during the stream, I was saying, set it and forget it. Just forget you even did it, and just play the range or whatever you think. There's some pretty cool tools out there now where, I'm not even talking agents yet, but just things like that where you can just let it roll, and you're not going to get liquidated, right? You know, you
Mhm.
might have some impermanent loss, but yeah. There's so many ways for different people who have, you know, bad, what were we saying? Bad, that aren't,
What?
man.
That are emotional?
Oh, what's the word? Yeah, we're going to go with emotional. That's not the word I'm looking for, but yeah, that are too emotional, and they're not structured
disciplined
enough. I'm looking for a specific
Oh,
word.
yeah.
Thank you. Disciplined enough. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and even if, here's the thing, when you were saying play your range, right? Like you were saying you're a round tripper. And, you know, like you said on the last call, right? We're not here to shill Cody or to shill Carbon or anything like that. You know, it's just, it goes with what we were talking about. Being a round tripper, you don't have to play these ranges and really have to TA or anything. I know last cycle, and I will TA a little bit, right? Am I super confident in it? I don't know. I mean, I host the trading calls, right? I'm way more confident in what Keith might say than myself. Or Rick, I see your charts. They make sense once I see them, right? But am I making that sense of it myself? No, probably not. But I do still have a price target in mind. When it gets to this, you know, this is where I'm comfortable selling, or I mean, this is just for a new user, you know, or maybe somebody who doesn't TA. I'm going to sell when it gets to this because you know what? I'm going to be happy and I'm going to be able to pay off my car, or I'm going to be able to pay off a big chunk of my home, or whatever that happens to be. That can even mind F you, because now all of a sudden it starts getting towards that price and you're like, oh, wait a minute, if I just hold out a little bit longer, right? That's an additional X amount or an additional X amount. And then all of a sudden you ruined yourself. If you just set that sell range. I remember we had somebody in the link community who sold a whole bunch of their chain link, and they said, I don't care, because it kept running, right?
Mm.
They sold a whole bunch at $10. And I don't know if you remember, but he bought an RV and he paid off his house. I think he paid off his mom's house. And he was like, I'm happy. I'm happy. Since I bought in at whatever price years ago, I said at $10, this is what I'm going to do. And he stuck with his plan, and everybody gave him such a hard time about it. And you know what happened? Link ran up to 50, and then it went all the way back down to like $5. Right. And here he is he's with his RV, and he's happy in his house that he paid for. And he's happy with his mom's house that he paid for. And he was perfectly fine with it. And he was like, you know what? You guys could talk about it all you want, but I'm happy. I made my plan. I sold when I said I was going to sell, and I walked away, and I'm not worried about it anymore. You know, there's a certain sense, like there's a certain feeling of freedom that goes with that, right?
Well, I think if people recognize that algorithms run the trading platform anyway between market makers and everybody else. And the bottom line is the more automated it gets, I argue the more predictable it's going to get, especially when it comes to key resistance and key support levels. And if you just play those on the higher time frames, it really isn't that difficult if you're willing to walk away and let the trade play out on, again, I say you're on what I would call are proven projects. Not so much on, you know, $1 million market cap type projects, but if you get into your top 20, I'd say top 50 type things, those are pretty well proven for the most part, except for the one that just got there, right, overnight. But but the traditional markets, you're going to find the liquidity is good, so you're not going to see big movements in price that, you know, will wipe you out. Don't get on MEXC's 500x leverage they just put out today, you know, with your entire bags. You know, those kind of crazy things that are out there that are tempting. Don't get me wrong. But if you're going to go take $50 and do that, don't go take $10,000 and do that. It'd be silly, because then you're the reason the chart spiked and everybody now is using you as exit liquidity because you were the idiot, didn't know what you were doing. And so I think if people just realized how, I hate to use this term, but how much easier it is to just find major resistance and support levels on a weekly time frame, for instance. The market is not hard to play and do very, very well if you're not in a hurry to go and, again, live like these idiots that are, you know, influencers out there on yachts and driving crazy cars and doing these just things that are irresponsible altogether. You can really be the guy that after 10 years, everybody's like, how'd you make so much money? He says, because I wasn't living like those yahoos did. And again, I was constantly building and investing and, you know, recouping my bag. So
what's so funny, Tracer, you unmuted. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, for 5 years, I've been saying to everybody who will listen is the 1 week, and I mean higher than that too, but the 1 week chart is the only one that matters to me.
Yep.
It's the only one that I've ever made real decisions on. Yeah, it's fun to watch 4 hours and stuff like that, and even lower if you're just goofing around. But the 1 week chart, if you're making big decisions on anything other than that, you're gambling.
Yeah, and if something breaks out into price discovery, where it's never been before, then that's the time you start selling on the way up, knowing that even if it keeps going up, at some point it's going to stop and it's going to come back down. And that gives you your entry to come back in. It might come back down right where you got out, and you're freaking out because it goes up another 30%. And next thing you know, it comes right back down, to where you got out. And all you do is preserve your capital responsibly, right? And then you get back in with a little bit, not a lot, let's say. But again, it's just a matter of, and I say it's just a matter of knowledge. And I didn't have it for the longest time, right? The first time when I was, I bought Bitcoin back in 2015 and then sold it at the end of early 2016 before it ran to $20,000 for the first time. I believed in the tech, but wasn't willing to hold on to the small amount of investment that I made. Then DeFi summer came, and man, I just made all kinds of money, and then I rode it all the way back down.
Same.
I mean,
all the way
Link
back
was the
down.
big one that I held, and I held a lot of it. And it
I
was like
bought
portfolio
the dip at
porn for the longest time.
35.
And then it came all the way back down. I wrote it, and I shouldn't have, but I did. But guess what? I consider that a very expensive lesson that I won't make the mistake again. And now I understand the tools a lot better to not make those mistakes. But at the same time, I didn't quit my job, right? I still kept my businesses, right? I did all the things I was supposed to say, you know what? I lost a lot of unrealized gains, like you're talking about as far as round tripping goes. But guess what? It only was one correction in the market, and now I'm there for the next one that goes up, and I won't make the same mistakes the second time.
Yeah.
Jen, I don't know if you saw my...
What?
I don't know if you heard my comment on Thursday when we were streaming, but Glenn was talking, and he talked about price discovery, and I was like, man, I haven't heard or used that term for so long, I almost forgot it existed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can't wait till we can start talking about price discovery again, because I used to tweet that out like crazy because it was happening all over the place. I haven't said that for 3 years at least. What the hell?
When was the last time you posted the WTF, WT, whatever?
Right?
At least the few I've seen, I'm like, that was 15%. That was nothing. Show me that 300x again in 10 minutes, right? That made you feel like a genius.
Yeah. No, I mean, we're seeing all of them now, and it's like a 2% or 3% move. Like, we are desperate for some good or for some FUD or for something, But if it was the moves like we used to see, hopefully we will. I mean, again, soon, of course. But yeah, price discovery is a good one. The WTFs are the good one. I always say that the whole reason I went all in on crypto when I did was because it's happening tonight. That one got me. I was a sucker for that. What are some other good ones? Just don't fall for the diamond hands one. Yes. All that means is that they're going to sell on you. You are their exit liquidity, right? If everybody's like diamond handing, they're selling.
Yep, especially the calls. As soon as your KOLs start doing that, that's when you know they're not worth following anymore. Anybody worthwhile is going to help guide you and say, this is the time to be patient. Here's the options, right? They never make a call hard one way or the other. They probably say, here's the options. I'm leaning this way, but it could go the other way based on this chart, and educate people. That's what, and that, as much as I'm not a TA expert, it's what I try to do and to help people along wherever I can.
I love this one in the background, Rick. I'm just going to say it.
My kids were talking about anime tonight at supper. And so I was talking about that. It's over 9,000 because they were talking about Vegeta. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I guess it was like the crypto meme that like made that so popular. And I remember when we were bouncing around that level. And then, people like BTC Jack Sparrow and stuff, they were talking about, oh, it's almost Vegeta meme season. And I was like, what is Vegeta meme season? And like, this was when we were breaking 9,000 USD. And now look where we are. And people are bearish. It's the craziest thing.
It's the craziest thing. I know.
The other meme that I was just thinking about when you were talking about that, Jen, is the one where everybody's like the copy pasta about like, I heard from a friend who trades with size that blah, 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 something's going to happen. And I tend to believe them. I haven't seen that one for a while too.
I haven't seen that one for a while now. I haven't seen that one for a while. You know what? One the other thing was that I was thinking about when we were talking about, when it's time to sell, maybe those top signals. And it's so true. It was true for me, and I didn't realize it then. But screenshotting, once you start seeing those screenshots pop up of, the this, or you are suddenly screenshotting, hold on to the screenshot, because that's going to be a memory, and have fun with it. I mean, I have screenshots of like the very tippy top of Chainlink back in whatever year that was. And I wrote that one all the way down. And now
my
I'm like,
last purchase was right at $50. And I was like, it corrected. I'm like, okay, it's going to go back up. It's going to go back up. And then for like months, it just kept going down. And it was like, okay, this sucks.
That's what I was saying. I bought dip at like 35. I'm buying the dip. Yep. No, just kept going.
Yeah.
Tracy, what were we going to say?
I bought hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Doge at 17 sats, which would have been somewhere in 2020, I guess. And I held it for like 6 months. And then I was like, you know what? I'm a fundamentals guy. Doge is garbage, right? And so I threw it all into some projects that you may have heard of that, may have representation in the room. And but what can you say? But, being a fundamentals guy is it still feels safer. I
you know
guess.
what is funny?
Maybe.
I do. I do still feel safer. Even if I had my Doge and I had my certain things and I kick myself for a minute, but like certain projects might not be like their token might not be performing like I would want them to, but really honestly, unless it's like those super micro caps and, like DeFi just isn't. And that's where I see a lot of the fundamentals, so even though certain tokens aren't performing like I want them to, the projects they're delivering. And that still at the end of the day makes me feel a whole lot better about where I am personally, I don't know if it's legally weird to say invested, but I consider myself, that's where I have a lot of my funds, and I still feel better. I still feel like I'm not gambling like I would have if I was just throwing it at whatever meme or, I missed out on Fartcoin, but are we leaving? Is that it? Is it the hour? I hear the music. I think he was trying to be respectful of me because I said I had movie night tonight with my son.
You're still muted, Trace. I think he's not
I'm also trying not to step on Jen too much, but I am trying to respect Jen's time frame. But I'm not like right now. It's just usually I play us out a song or two.
Well, play us out.
Whenever.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay.
If I was to give one piece of advice for the market overall right now, I would say timing in the market's important, especially for what might be going on. So I would tell folks, if you're watching and you're wanting to know where to go look, there is legislation both in the Senate and the House right now on stablecoins being clarified as far as how regulation works. And every company in the world is going to want to have their own stable coin to create their own economics, especially in investment portfolios. And they're going to have a way in which to manage that on chain through pools and trading and everything else. And this is why I think Curve is a great option. There might be some other ones out there, but that is by far the leader. And I think it's going to see the biggest advantage and the biggest gains from that taking place. And then from there, once stable coins are in play, that's when you're going to see, I think, the shift to DeFi, because now all of that institutional and banking money has a way to get in. And then from there, they're going to say, how can we put our own money to work so that it has better gains than what we can even get from the feds? So get knowledgeable on that world. And I believe personally, that's where the next big jump is going to take. It'll be the outlier when the market takes a little bit of a dip. It'll probably be one of the stronger ones that's performing. It's already doing that today. And that'd be the one I'd say look into, and it's going to be top of the news for the next foreseeable future. And probably within the next 30 to 60 days, we'll see that legislation pass.
Nice little alpha drop from Rick.
So one last question then.
Sure.
Rick.
Yes.
Timing, because you said it. Okay. So timing the market or time in the market. Your thoughts?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Crypto.
I think there's seasons, right? I don't think you can time anything perfectly, but I think you can detect where the tides are going to go to Friends, I think we're moving out of meme season, and now we're moving more into like utility. And I think that's going to come from everyone's expectation on regulation.
Hope so.
So time in the market is important, because now would be the time to start taking your positions and be patient, and just know that even if it gets a little volatile, where is the first amount of clarity going to come that we've been waiting for years? That's it. There's no doubt about that. They've already made the claim. That's what they're going to put first and foremost. And so finding positions that you feel confident about that somehow are going to benefit from a stable token boom, if you will, is probably the smartest play right now. And then from there, like I said, capture your gains as it's going up, be willing to take out, right? Just kind of know where the targets are going to be, because most of these tokens that are there, they're all still down 80, 90% from all-time highs. So there's a lot of area that you're going to have opportunities to get in and get out, but you got to learn a little bit about TA. And that's just something you're going to have to do to invest in yourself, and follow people that want to teach you TA, not just make calls. Don't be a copy trader, because you're always acting behind them, paying more and getting less because they're making bigger moves and using you as the liquidity. So whatever that's worth.
Well, thank you, Rick. I'm glad that you were joining us today.
Yeah, I don't always get to catch these different ones you're on, but I was happy to be in here. I was like, oh, Jen's jumping on something. I have to pay attention.
No, I love it. And I've missed you. So I'm happy that you were able to join us. And I'm glad that you got to meet Tracer too.
Yeah, it was great meeting you, Tracer. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to bloviate a little bit.
Yeah, and it was perfect timing because I was dropping out of the call there. So thanks for coming up. We're trying to do this every Saturday.
That's right.
and we're trying to do this every Saturday night. So once in a while, if you're bored, come and chat, because this time we're going to let you off the hook, but you do have to bring your favorite cocktail when you want to come chat with us.
Oh, okay. Not a problem. Sounds like a plan.
Right on.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot. I'll do it.
You got anything else, Jen, before we sign this one off?
No, I'm just, I'm glad that we got to do this again. I'm going to be enjoying these Saturday night calls. I think these are great. And I love our little thing up there, by the way. And my Jen plush toy was fantastic. Thanks for making that.
Oh my God, that is adorable. Like, yours is my favorite so far. Anyways, we'll see. Maybe have to, I don't know. I got to go look back at Rick's profile picture, but maybe he'll have a good one too.
Wait, where did this trend come from really fast?
The trend.
I don't.
Plush toy trend.
I'll have to look. I don't know who started it, but there's somebody developed like an AI Twitter X profile
great.
thing. So
I like our little Moai one too.
Awesome.
It's super cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know. That was a different tool. Somebody just jumping in on it. So I don't know. I don't know where that one came from,
so
but I
that's
like that one,
Sruli. Sruli is our graphics designer. And he's fantastic,
really cool.
like our creatives guy, and he's super creative. But different tool he just did on his own. He's such a genius.
Pretty sure,
for sure.
Yeah. Okay, with that, thank you guys. Thanks to all the viewers.
Have a good night.
Rick, we'll be in touch.
Nice to meet
Tracer,
you, Rick.
too.
You too, Tracer. Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks, everybody, from coast to coast and around the world. This is Crypto and Cocktails. We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, Rick. You're the best, Jen.
Love you.
Pour the drinks, let the chatter flow. Life in crypto, where dreams will grow. Stories wild from old to new. No rules here, just me and you. Crypto and cocktails under the sky. Laugh about the markets as the night rolls by. Sip on secrets hidden and bold. Life's a gamble, a story untold. NFTs and blockchain spin the tale. Riding waves or a moonlit sail. Decoding chaos with a drunken cheer. Friends that matter always near. Raise your glass to the highs and lows. To whisper truths that nobody knows. story.
All right, guys, thanks for being here, and we'll see you again a week from now. Take care.
Laugh about the markets as the night rolls by. Sip on secrets hidden and bold. Life's a gamble, a story untold. Shake the vodka, stir the gin. Count your gains before they thin. Life and crypto, they're intertwined. Lost and found in the sands of time. Crypto and cocktails under the sky. Laugh about the markets as the night rolls by. Sip on secrets hidden and bold. Life's a gamble, a story untold. Shake the vodka, stir the gin. Count your gains before they thin. Life and crypto, they're intertwined. Lost and found in the sands of time.